Holy moly!
I've got like 100 people in the box right now.
Jesus Christ! 100 leads.
First day, I used probably like 48 tickets.
So I want to make sure that these turn into a full client list for you. We've got some work to do, but some great progress. I do think that it's forgiving when you have more leads. More leads means that you can make more mistakes or try new things without the fear of that scarcity mindset of like, oh my God, I've only got 1 or 2 leads this week. What happens if they don't convert, right? Hey coach, Xenia Wood here, and this is the Swift Coaches Academy podcast, created for service-based business owners who are ambitious enough to break free from the forever hustle and create scalable businesses that truly make an impact while also giving us freedom. With more than a decade of experience, we're not here to waste your time on theory. Instead, just sharing what works and what doesn't to help you get clear as fuck on your next move and show you exactly how to implement the systems and strategies that you need to scale with confidence. Welcome back to another episode of Swift Coaches Academy. Now, at the time you'll be listening to this, it will be sort of mid to late January. And I've decided that 2025 is really the year of trying new things. So for me, what that looks like and what I mean by that is that I think in 2024, a lot of things that used to work for us, especially in the online space, no longer work or they don't work as well. And there needs to be potentially like more social proof, more trust. We need to be doing things a little differently to bring in new leads, new clients, or retention, upsell strategies, all those sorts of things. And particularly when it comes to lead generation, because of the fact that people are more skeptical than ever. So I've decided 2025 is the year of trying new things. And for me, this is something that I'm loosely coining the fuck around, find out year for me, where it's like, I am no longer looking at like a 1-year time horizon as to like, what do I want to achieve this year? Yes, those things are in place and I have mapped out what I want and I've worked backwards from not just, oh, this is my 12-year goal, but like, what's my Q1 goal, my month 1, my week 1 goal, and making sure I'm actually creating action steps to get me to that. But it's also the year of going, you know what? Fuck it. If I have a 10-year time horizon and I know that I want to be in the online space, I want to have time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, what do I need to do now? And if I have 10 years, like I just think, I look back and I'm like, 10 years ago, I had just graduated uni. And I didn't even have a business. I didn't even know if that was going to be a thing for me. Like where I am now versus like 10-year ago me would be like, holy fuck, Xenia, you have absolutely made it. And so I think of that because like now sitting here, I'm like, nah, I don't think I've quote unquote made it, nor do I think we ever do. I think it's, progress over time. But I am proud of where I've come from. And I also know that if I like really go at something for 10 years, I can very likely, and you as well, can be in like the top 10% of whatever it is. Like if I just decided to drop everything and go become like a lawyer, right? Like in 10 years, I would have gone through uni, I'd be 5 years in the field. I could probably be pretty good in one area of law, right? Or if I decided, let's say I didn't need a degree and I was going to go and work and own restaurants. In 10 years, if I really went at that, I think I could be pretty fucking good at owning, running, managing restaurants. So with that time horizon in mind and no longer looking the year to year, it helps me to step back and not sweat the small stuff, but also to realize like whatever I want to go after is just there's skills and time that are between me and that outcome. Okay. So that's really cool and really exciting because I've often only sort of planned like 3 months to 12 months in advance and gone, what do I want this year? But like then forecasting further in the future allows for so much more possibilities because you're going to be like a totally different human in 10 years in terms of your beliefs, in terms of where you potentially live, the money that you make, all of these sorts of things. And that's really cool and exciting. So with that in mind and being the fuck around, find out and trying new things, I want to talk to you about how we can generate a fuck ton more leads. So with the title of this episode being Simone getting 100 leads in 2 days, which is true and fucking crazy, I'm going to play a little clip of her now talking about this that we're going to put in here and then come back to this episode in just a second. Holy moly!
I've got like 100 people in the box right now.
Jesus Christ! 100 leads.
First day, I used probably like 48 tickets.
So I want to make sure that these turn into a full client list for you. We got some work to do, but some great progress. Okay, so that is freaking crazy, but it's also something that I don't think we all need 100 leads to be able to get to our outcome. Leads can be really helpful, and it's really forgiving as well. So if you make mistakes, but you have 100 leads, you make one mistake, you have 99 more people you can try different things out on. It allows us to be a little bit more expansive and creative with the things that we do, as opposed to, oh my God, I only have, let's say, like one lead this week. Like, I have to make the sale, right? If you have 100, you can afford to try some new things with different people to see if you can get a different or better outcome, right? And Simone's not alone in the results that she gets inside our Biz Academy program. We also had a student who's been working with us for 2.5 years, and he woke up on Jan 1st to 7 new discovery calls already booked into his calendar because he has everything automated set up, which is freaking awesome. And all of them signed up after one phone call with him, right? So that is huge. 7 new clients in one day. Imagine what you could do with that. We also had a student who got 6 instant signups without needing to do sales calls from 20 leads. And this was before she followed any of them up, right? We also had another student who got 12 new members into a second round of a challenge that she was never going to run because she was like, I wasn't even going to do another challenge, but 12 people like inquired without her even like posting about it and talking about it. So this is 12 on top of the 13 that she had in the previous round. So she had to double it and create space for another 12, which is insane. And the reason I say that I don't think most people need 100 leads is because most of our students convert and at 80%. And I would say like industry norms for like coaching and health and things like that is probably going to be about that 70-80%. Because once they get in front of you, they're practically already sold themselves anyway. And so our challenge is usually getting them in front of us. But like I said, I do think that it's forgiving when you have more leads. So for me, when I started out as an exercise physiologist, I worked in a big box gym that had 4,000 members. And it was honestly one of the best things that I ever could have done so early in my career, because there's so many things to focus on that you can't work on sales and lead gen and marketing and your actual profession and getting people results and retention and all these things, right? That you're expected to be all the hats when you're the solopreneur. You can't be expected to do all those things well. So for me, having leads flowing through the door and not having to worry about that one thing meant that I could make mistakes, and it was okay because I had more leads coming through. And so I know some people are like, oh, like gyms take so much money and things like that, but like you have to spend the money to go and get the leads if the gym's not going to do it for you. And I actually think it's a really, really fucking good way to start off a career as a coach, especially in the fitness space, because you get to learn so many things and you don't have to worry about where your next lead is coming from, because you just go and walk up to someone on the gym floor, right? So I also want to mention before we start diving into this episode, in a recent episode, which is episode 102, we spoke about that perhaps leads is not the problem. So if you're not sure if leads are or are not the problem for you, i.e. not based on gut feel, but based on the metrics in your business, it's telling you or not telling you that leads are the problem, make sure you know that first, right? Because if you just go, oh, I think I need more leads, then maybe we're looking at the wrong thing and you're spending all this time going down the wrong rabbit hole. So I would implore you to pause this and go to that if you haven't already, or you don't know that leads is the problem. But if leads is the problem, I got you today, coach. So we're going to talk about this story of Simone getting 100 leads in 2 days. And she ended up getting like between 130 and 150 leads total in just her first 3 days. I had to like close the strategy that she used down because there was just too many leads, which is freaking crazy and awesome. So the strategy Simone used is probably something that you've heard of before, but I'm going to talk about how she did it, what I would change, and how you might be able to implement it too. So it's called our giveaway strategy. And so what Simone did is she got a physical box. She works at a gym. she got a physical box where you can like put your name and phone number on a piece of paper and put it into like a win box. And the thing that she was giving away was 1 month of free coaching. So I believe this was 2 sessions a week for 4 weeks. So it's 8 sessions plus an initial consult that she was giving away to one person who won. Now, there are so many reasons why this works so well, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But that was pretty much the main strategy that she used. The reason it worked well for her was because in her gym was a high foot traffic area. So you could use a QR code, but I actually love the idea that she used a physical box because it shows interest. And the more, it's kind of like going to the restaurant and seeing like tons of people in one restaurant and nobody in the other. It's like, oh, even if you don't know anything about the restaurants, you instantly think that the restaurant with nobody in it is like poor quality or not as good, right? So the idea of the physical box, seeing all these different pieces of paper from all these other people who are interested in the thing, breeds more interest in other people, right? We have like this FOMO about it and we don't want to miss out. So we put our name in too because we could win. Yeah. So I love that she did that. You could, however, use like a QR code to do that. But again, I think the physical thing is cool. And maybe you do a hybrid, right? I think she posted about it like once or twice, but really didn't need to. Okay. The other things that I would do though, so that was Simone's strategy that got her 100 leads, right? If you work in a gym or if you have a high foot traffic area, absolutely be doing this strategy for Jan, for sure. Okay. The things that you could do for potential bonus entries, which Simone didn't do, which could have increased it if she didn't have an overflowing amount of leads, or for you, if maybe you have slightly less foot traffic or something like that, would be to choose maybe 2 or 3 of the following things I'm going to suggest. Now, the reason I say 2 or 3 is that any more than that can feel overwhelming and can likely put people off because it will increase the barrier to entry. You'll see what I mean in a second. So you could do this online, and I have before, and then, you see the common thing where it says like and follow us, share it to your story, and then like tag 2 or 3 friends, right? Those things are great, but the more steps you have in place, the less likely someone is to go through with it because they go, oh, too hard, or can't be fucked, or, like whatever the thing is where they're like, oh, like it was so easy. It was just liking a thing. And now you're wanting me to do all these steps. And perhaps people have stories about it. I want to post things on my story, or, I don't really have any friends I'd want to tag, or whatever it is. Okay. So I love that Simone did like a super like bare bone strategy and it fucking crushed. Yeah. Other things you could do is potentially invite a friend, or better yet, and you see this in gyms, right? You get the person who enters to put their friend's name and phone number in the box and enter on their behalf so that they can potentially get a bonus entry for themselves. Or you could just do that and say, hey, your friend could win too, and maybe it's a 2-for-1 or whatever it is. So that can be a really cool strategy that a lot of gyms use, but I find a lot of coaches don't. Next thing is, if you are online or you have low foot traffic in your physical location, you can be putting up these physical boxes in other people's physical businesses, right? This also applies for other people's online stores. Let's say you have 300 followers, someone else has 10,000 followers. You could say, hey, can you promote this for me? And maybe you give them, I don't know, something in return of value or a monetary amount or something for the exchange of that. Okay. So that could be a cool way to do it. You could also do it as like a value exchange and say, hey, I'd love for you to put this in your physical location or post this on your social media. I'm a PT, you're a nutritionist. We don't do each other's things, but why don't you also put in a month of free nutrition? Now we've doubled the audience size and we're both going to get something out of this. Okay. So that's another way that we can add like partnership strategies to something where you're you're working with the same clientele, but you're not competitors. Okay. Now, I think it would be negligent of me to not speak about the things that potentially you're thinking about being like, but Xenia, I wouldn't do this because. So I want to talk to those. So you might be thinking, but why would I give shit away for free of value? Like, I don't want to do that, right? So my question to you is, how much would you be willing to pay for 100 leads? Because we know leads are not free. They're either going to cost you time, effort, money or a combination of those things, right? So if you just got 100 leads who wanted what you have on tap and you had the ability to reach out to them, connect to them, nurture them, have them book in, see what you're about, that is worth something to all of us. Yeah. So have a think about what that cost is. And if you do the math and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to convert, let's say 10% and be super conservative. Let's say Simone converts 10%, which I know she's already done better than that. But let's say she converted 10% of her 100 leads, even though it's more, it's like close to like 150. Let's say it was 10% of 100 leads. So she got 10 people in. Let's say for argument's sake, she charges $100 a week. So $100 for a week with her converting 10 people, and she has a minimum 12-week package. So that's $1,200 times 10. That's $12,000 for her to do this strategy for free. Is she willing to spend the time of one person getting that for free, which would end up being $1,200? Is she willing to invest $1,200 of her time to get $12,000 in exchange? Fuck yeah, she is. Yeah, I would be saying, let's do that every day and twice on Sunday. So if we look at the cost of doing it versus of not doing it, of not having that extra $12,000, Simone's going to do that every single time that she can, right? Obviously, strategies get old. We need to change them. It can't always be the same. But this is something that can work really effectively and can be done more than once throughout the year. Okay. But if you are thinking of doing it, we know that especially if you're in like the health or the fitness space, January is like peak time. So you're going to get the most amount of leads doing it in a high peak time when everyone's thinking about their health and they're wanting to kickstart the new year, right? Doesn't mean you can't do it at other times, but I would strongly suggest like putting something real quick and dirty up together for yourself and your business for this strategy right now. So the other thing you might be thinking is like, but what about my clients who are already paying for my services, right? Like, isn't it unfair to them? And to that, I say like, well, don't you go to the shop sometimes you bought something and then you go the next week and it's on sale and you're like, fuck, but you're happy that you bought it anyway. Like there was no option when you bought it to have it for the discount and you're already in, you've got the service, you've got the dress, whatever, you've got the training. And that's just like, we know that that's part of doing business. And we know that when we purchase something, things could go on sale, or the offer could change, but we purchase it at that time for a specific reason because we want it at that time. So we just know that that is part of it. And we also know that business owners put things in place to bring in new leads and new clientele. And so we understand that those new offers aren't always going to be relevant to us and we're okay, right? Um, so I want to talk now about why giveaways work. And there's a fair few things that I want you to consider. The first thing is it's a great attention grabber. So it's going to spread your message, it's going to build hype, and it also sells your product or service without you actually like selling it, right? So you're talking about the features, the benefits, all these things, and then you're saying enter my free draw. So you're just giving value. And then on the back end of that, we can use some cool strategies to help get people in and learning more about us. But it's really great way to grab that attention, spread our message, and sell without, I guess, the people who say they feel salesy or they're worried about feeling salesy. It's a great way to sort of move through those feelings and do it anyway, because you're actually not selling anything at this point. Next thing is it's a great way to reach out to old clients. So many people feel like weird or icky, like messaging previous clients, but if you're like, I'm going to give away, it is for free, like, do you want to enter? Then it's a great way to open up and reignite an old conversation, see where they're at in a genuine way. It's also great because of the law of reciprocity. So often what happens is whoever wins this challenge and gets a month free training with you, and they've spent nothing but their time and their attention, they're going to learn to who you are. Hopefully they build some know, like, and trust with you. And then after that month is up, the likelihood that they stay on and they pay you because of the law of reciprocity, you gave something for free for a long period of time, they're likely to sign up with you. So even if only that one person signs up, it's likely going to be worth the cost of acquisition, aka your time, to have done that. The other thing is with this strategy, the more value you give, the better the strategy works. So, for example, in the past, I've given away a full 6 months of our Exercise Education Academy program before for free, and it creates a ton of exposure for us. I think we signed on maybe 2 or 3 clients off the back of just the exposure of that. And so those were at about $3,500 to $4,000 each. So that's like 12 grand for me to put up a freebie for one person to come in for free. And with this program, it was highly scalable. And so there was no actual one-on-one time or support. So really, it cost me nothing, which is an awesome reason why creating a scalable business model can be super, super cool and effective, especially with these giveaways, because you actually give away a ton of value without giving away a ton or any of your one-to-one time. What else have we got? So the only people who want the prize or the result are the ones who will enter. For example, if I am walking past a beauty stall that offers free laser treatments in the middle of the shopping center, if I don't want laser, I'm not going to enter a free draw to get laser treatment, right? Like that just wouldn't make sense because I don't want the prize. So the awesome thing about a giveaway strategy is that everyone who enters actually wants the prize, right? Which means that everyone who enters is an ideal potential client. So that means that all of these contact details that you get now are people putting their hands up saying, yes, I would love this. I want help with this. I would love to win it, right? Which is cool. Of course, because it's free, not everyone is going to be willing to pay for it, but you are going to get 100% of those people who are interested in it. And if you can show them the value of it, even if they're not the winner, to potentially work with you in some capacity now or in the future, then that's an awesome win too. People also love winning. That's a great reason to do a giveaway strategy because people love to be like, oh my God, I won this thing, right? Social proof for you when they talk about it. And then the barrier to entry is super low. It's like phone number, email on like a physical box, or it's like a comment, or it's send a DM. Like it doesn't take a lot of effort for someone to enter something that could get a huge prize off the back of that. Now, a couple other things that I would suggest if you run this giveaway strategy after you've run it is to have a back end offer for everyone who doesn't win. Obviously, you're going to promote the winner, you're going to talk about it, all those sorts of things, but you want to have a back end strategy. And I call this the runner up strategy for everyone who didn't win. Now, I'm going to talk to you about, I heard about this strategy the first time. And I was like, fuck, this is genius, from a photography studio, actually. And what they do is everyone who doesn't win, they send an email and they say, hey, you're our runner-up. You don't need to say that there's like 500 runner-ups. You just say, you're our runner-up. And instead of winning the full package, which is the $2,000, full photography package and all the photos all edited given to you, you actually win one photo and you can come in for the experience and get all your photos taken, right? So what they do is they get so many people to come in and say, hey, I've got the runner-up prize. And they say, amazing, take a seat. And then they give them one photo, but they have to go through, like, they're probably going to like get their hair and makeup done for it. They're probably going to put on some nice clothes. They're going to have to drive to the facility where the photos are taken. And then they take like 50 photos of them, right? And they give them one. And then they show them, hey, do you want to purchase any of these other photos? And the fact that they've spent so much time with them, again, is leaning back on that law of reciprocity that we spoke about before. That means that these people are going to be like, oh, like I've got this one thing for free. The likelihood they're going to want to get another 1, 2, 5, 10 photos from this photography studio because of the time and effort and energy they put in is pretty high. And it's a great lead magnet, great way to get people into their facility as well. We can definitely be doing this with things like a week free or some sort of like discounted training as well. I would just make sure that you put scarcity and urgency inside those so that people can't, wait 12 weeks and then be like, oh, I want the thing now, right? Like it needs to be something where you get people to act fast. Okay. And then after the giveaway, we also want to add them to your email list and nurture them. So continue to update them, send them value adding things, and provide opportunities for them to be reminded of you and opportunities to work with you. Okay. If you do all of these things, I would be shocked if you don't get 50 plus leads from just this strategy alone. And the more of the things that I mentioned that you add into this in terms of like collaborating with other businesses, in terms of a physical thing and maybe a QR code and like getting all of these, I'd be so surprised if you don't get 50 leads from this. And we know that, like I said before, more leads means that you can make more mistakes or try new things without the fear of that scarcity mindset of like, oh my God, I've only got 1 or 2 leads this week. What happens if they don't convert, right? So I hope that this one's given you a ton to think about and you are planning your giveaway strategy now. I would love to see it. Tag me in it if you do it. And if you found this useful and there's someone you know that would also benefit from it, I would love if you could just flick them the link and share it with them. That is a way that I can bring you better content and focus more on growing and building this podcast. So yeah, that's it from me today, and I will see you next episode. Hey, coach, before you go, the reason I do this every single week and the reason we've been able to surpass 100 episodes is because of you. So thank you. We're on a mission towards never seeing another coach leave the industry because they didn't have the skills or the confidence to scale. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that before you forget. I read every single one of the comments and share as many as I can. So if you found this episode valuable, sharing it with a friend who might be able to benefit from hearing it would honestly mean so much to me. Until next time, and in whatever you do, move swiftly.